You are standing in a cold, stone cell, barefoot, shivering, no crown, no velvet, no mirrors left to remind you who you once were. Outside, Paris screams your name like a curse. Inside, the walls whisper something far crueler. You are no longer Marie Antoinette, only the body that will be walked to the blade. But before the guillotine ever touched her neck, before history painted her as a monster, before the crowd demanded her head like entertainment, there were things done to her that the world pretended not to see. Humiliations, psychological breaking, a stripping not just of title, but of self. So the real question is, what truly happened to Queen in the hours and the years before her final walk? And why do those moments still haunt the conscience of France? You are Marie Antoinette, a young Archduchess of Vienna, wrapped in silken dreams, untouched by the harshness of the world. The corridors of your palace smell of waxed floors and rose water, a scent meant to lull you into believing that life is soft, ordered, and forgiving. Every mirror reflects a girl smiling politely, learning her lessons, playing the perfect daughter. Innocent, untouched by the storms gathering far beyond the gilded windows. They tell you stories of France, a golden kingdom where you will reign as a queen, adored and feared, powerful and untouchable. They speak of courtiers bowing, nobles obeying, a throne that promises safety and prestige. The words are embroidered into your mind like the patterns on your gowns. Irresistible, unquestionable, a prophecy. You do not yet know that silk can suffocate as easily as it can adorn, that gold can glitter over chains. On the day of your departure, the carriage waits. You step inside, leaving behind Vienna's familiar scents, its warm sun, its laughter echoing in gardens you will never see again. Your mother presses a hand to your cheek. Remember who you are, she whispers, but what she cannot teach is what France will demand. Not just your obedience, but your body, your reputation, your very self. The wheels turn, carrying you toward a life you have imagined only in dreams. And as the French countryside rolls past, you're still a child believing in stories of honor and glory. The palace that awaits is nothing like home. It will be alive with whispers, jealousy, politics hidden behind polite smiles. Every step toward Versailles brings you closer to a gilded cage. Yet in your heart, the promise of queenship still shines like a candle in the dark, fragile but unextinguished. You do not yet know that soon the world will try to rewrite who you are, silencing the girl, shaping the queen into a symbol for a revolution that has already begun to fester. The first glimpse of Versailles hits like a wave you cannot escape. Towers glint in the sun, gilded gates shimmer, and fountains sing in precise, orchestrated harmony. From the outside, it looks like heaven, a place where a queen should feel safe, where dreams are woven into every corridor and ballroom. But the palace has a heartbeat of its own, a cold, deliberate rhythm that measures status, fear, and compliance. And you, Marie, are stepping right into its pulse. The courtiers wait, their eyes sharp, scanning, calculating. Smiles are weapons here, compliments veils that can hide daggers. You bow, curtsy, smile, every movement judged, every glance dissected. You are told to be graceful, witty, obedient, yet magnetic. To fail even slightly is to reveal vulnerability, a crack for rivals to exploit. In Vienna, life was sheltered. Here, every gesture carries consequence. Every word carries rumor. And though you are only a girl, the weight of expectation presses on your shoulders, heavier than any crown. Your chambers are lavish, filled with velvet mirrors and crystal, yet they feel strangely empty. The walls echo with footsteps you cannot see, whispers of ladies-in-waiting who watch your every move. You are told this is safety, but instinct whispers otherwise. You miss the simplicity of home, the familiar faces, the quiet nights, the laughter not measured by etiquette. Versailles is beautiful, yes, but is a gilded cage where innocence is currency and curiosity a dangerous indulgence. And yet, even in these first hours, a small spark of defiance flickers inside you, a memory of Vienna, a thought of your own desires, a silent rebellion against a world that has decided you are no longer simply Marie, a girl with dreams, but Marie Antoinette, queen in waiting, a symbol before you have even breathed. The palace may watch you, judge you, shape you, but deep down, you begin to understand something essential. Survival here will demand more than beauty or obedience. It will demand a careful performance, a hiding of self, and a resilience you have not yet had to summon. Days turn into weeks, and the rhythm of Versailles begins to tighten its grip. Every morning is measured, every evening scrutinized. You learn the names of the courtiers, memorize their alliances, their hidden grudges. Conversations are traps disguised as politeness, compliments sharpened into tests. The more you try to exist naturally, the more you feel observed, as if every gesture is being recorded, every laugh evaluated. The palace does not merely watch, it molds. And the mold is unforgiving. At night, when the candles burn low and the hallways fall silent, you allow yourself a moment of reflection. You touch the fabric of your gown and remember the simpler silk of Vienna, the warmth of home that felt like freedom. But here, freedom is an illusion, replaced by expectation. The golden halls shimmer, but their beauty casts long shadows of isolation, of subtle cruelty, of the relentless weight of the role you must now inhabit. Even your closest attendants are wary. Loyalty is currency, but suspicion is currency too. To trust too much is to expose yourself. Yet in this crucible, something quietly grows. A seed of awareness, fragile but undeniable, that you must adapt. That survival is not about charm or you alone, but about learning the unspoken rules, the pauses, the nods, the silences that can save or destroy a life. And though you still cling to the promise of queenship, you begin to glimpse the truth. Beauty and innocence are fragile shields, and they will not protect you forever. Something inside you stiffens, a silent resolve forming beneath the layers of silk and powder. The girl who arrived believing in dreams now begins to understand the machinery of power, the invisible hands that will shape her destiny, and the subtle art of keeping one's soul intact while the world demands its sacrifice. As you stand at the window, watching the fountain sparkle in the afternoon sun, a quiet thought settles in your heart. The life you imagine has already begun to unravel. Versailles is magnificent, terrifying, and merciless. And soon, the girl who believed in fairy tales will be forced to confront a reality far crueler than any story told in Vienna. The palace is alive in a way that feels almost supernatural. Every corridor hums with secrets. Every tapestry seems to hold a whisper. Every chandelier reflects 1,000 watchful eyes. You are no longer just Marie, the girl who arrived with dreams and innocence. You are Marie Antoinette, queen in training, and the golden walls of Versailles have already begun to transform into a cage, beautiful, ornate, but impossible to escape. The day begins before the sun rises. Footsteps echo through the halls as ladies-in-waiting adjust gowns, straighten hair, and memorize the endless choreography of court etiquette. Every gesture, every tone, is observed. A glance that lingers too long or a smile that fades too soon can be remembered, repeated, and twisted into gossip. Even laughter must be measured, light enough to charm, but never bright enough to reveal the girl inside. It is exhausting, relentless, an invisible punishment for the naive. You quickly learn that Versailles rewards performance more than presence. Politeness is power. Silence can be a weapon. Obedience is survival. The courtiers are skilled actors, playing roles that mask ambition, envy, and jealousy. They whisper behind fans, exchange coded glances, and maneuver for influence with the precision of generals on a battlefield. And you, still learning, are both audience and participant, caught between fascination and fear. The gilded halls seem to pulse with expectation. Every chandelier is sun spotlighting your missteps. Every reflection a reminder of the persona you are required to craft. Yet even as you navigate this intricate world, something begins to unsettle you. The palace is magnificent, yes, but it is cold, disciplined, and precise to the point of cruelty. Comfort is an illusion, freedom a memory. Every corner, every mirror, every perfumed hallway demands obedience. In the evenings, when the lights dim and the echoes of footsteps fade, the quiet creeps in, not just silence, but the heavy knowledge that you are alone in the center of this grandeur, watched, judged, and slowly being molded into something the palace requires rather than what your heart longs to be. Weeks pass, and the rhythm of Versailles tightens its grip. Each day is a performance, rehearsed and scrutinized. You rise with the dawn, wrapped in layers of silk and powder, and the first task is never comfort. It is observation. The courtiers watch every movement, every word, Even the gentlest gesture can be dissected, analyzed, and used as a weapon against you. Friends are scarce because trust is a liability. Loyalty is measured in whispers and favors. You begin to feel the subtle erosion of self. Decisions you once made freely are now dictated by protocol. Your opinions, your desires, your laughter, all must be calibrated to maintain your image. The palace teaches you quickly. To survive is to perform, to please, to hide. And yet, the emptiness behind gilded walls is suffocating. In private, when the lamps are dimmed and the corridor is silent, the girl you once were peeks through the cracks, longing for freedom, for simplicity, for moments when no one watches. Every day brings a new lesson in power and manipulation. You observe courtiers shaping events with a glance, a smile, a discreet word whisper behind a fan. You realize that beauty alone is not enough. Cleverness, charm, and the ability to read the intentions of others are essential weapons. Slowly, your innocence begins to fracture, replaced by a growing awareness of the system that has claimed you. Versailles is not just a palace. It is a machine designed to consume identity and produce spectacle. And you, once a girl of Vienna, are its newest subject. The pressure intensifies as seasons change. Balls, ceremonies, and political gatherings pile upon one another, each demanding perfect grace and flawless composure. The Queen's role is not merely to exist, but to embody France itself, a symbol of power, elegance, and order. And yet, beneath the surface, the palace hums with jealousy, ambition, and quiet cruelty. Every smile hides calculation. Every compliment could be a trap. You begin to notice the subtle ways the system breaks people. Courtiers vanish from favor overnight. Whispers become rumors, and small mistakes are magnified into scandals. You understand that survival is not a matter of strength alone, but of reading the currents, adapting swiftly, and learning to protect the self behind layers of mask and performance. The girl who arrived wide-eyed and trusting is becoming a careful observer, measuring every gesture, every tone, every glance. Still, there are moments of wonder, fleeting and fragile. A fountain glinting in sunlight, a whispered compliment from an ally, the softness of a gown against your skin. But these moments only highlight the vast machinery pressing down on you, the golden cage in which every beauty is also a chain. The palace is magnificent, but it is merciless. And as you lie awake at night, listening to the distant echoes of Versailles, a thought takes root. Survival will require more than obedience. It will require a quiet cunning, a shielded heart, and the strength to retain the girl inside while becoming the queen they all demand. Versailles has begun its work. The transformation is subtle, relentless, and invisible. The girl who believed in fairy tales is learning that the reality behind the gold is far colder and far more dangerous than she ever imagined. The streets of Paris are no longer silent whispers behind palace walls. They are roaring, accusing voices. Rumors swirl like smoke, wrapping the queen in layers of mistrust and hatred she cannot see or escape. The affair of the diamond necklace, though a distant scandal, becomes a weapon sharpened by gossip and political intrigue. The crowd's perception grows louder than reason, and Marie Antoinette, once a girl of Vienna, is now a symbol of excess, indulgence, and corruption. You walk to the gardens of Versailles, the fountain sparkling in the sun, and feel a weight pressing from every direction. Every carriage that passes, every window that gazes down from the city, seems to judge you. Perfumed courtiers continue their dance of smiles and hidden daggers, yet outside the gilded palace, Paris is no longer enchanted by the spectacle. It is enraged. Bread is scarce. Families suffer, and the queen becomes a scapegoat. Even the soft laughter of children seems drowned beneath the chant of anger in distant streets. The psychological toll begins subtly. You sense eyes watching, conversations pausing when you enter, letters arriving with accusations thinly disguised as concern. The palace becomes a cage not only of gilded walls, but of public scorn. Innocence erodes, security evaporates. You realize that no amount of charm or compliance can alter the tide outside. The world you thought you ruled with elegance now turns against you, and the girl who once believed in fairy tales begins to understand that a queen is not protected by beauty or birthright. She is, in fact, exposed, every flaw amplified, every gesture interpreted, every smile suspect. The propaganda spreads like wildfire. Pamphlets, songs, and cartoons depict you as callous, extravagant, immoral. Each day brings another whisper, another accusation, another crack in the fragile armor of identity you've been carefully building. Even your allies grow cautious. Loyalty is tainted by fear. Every word spoken in your defense is drowned beneath the chorus of blame. Inside the palace, life continues its relentless performance. The courtiers pretend obedience, but their eyes are sharp, their motives hidden. You realize that appearances are everything. A misplaced smile or a poorly chosen word can ripple outward, feeding the fire of public contempt. The golden cage you inhabit has become heavier, and every corridor echoes not with beauty, but with scrutiny. You begin to internalize the world's judgment. Sleep becomes restless, meals tasteless, laughter hollow. Even small gestures feel like rebellion or concession. Even privacy feels invaded. Slowly, a psychological shift takes hold. The girl who once dreamed of queenship now calculates each action, weighs each word, and masks the turmoil in her chest behind perfect composure. The court has not only taken her freedom, it has begun to take her spirit, shaping her into an emblem for a kingdom's fury. Every day, the distance between Marie Antoinette and the world she governs grows. She watches the city through the palace windows, sees the breadlines, hears the whispers of revolution stirring in the streets. The crown feels heavier with each passing hour, not because of responsibility, but because it symbolizes a hatred pressing down from every direction. The queen's children become both joy and torment. Their laughter offers fleeting escape. Yet each moment with them is shadowed by the knowledge that her role as mother is judged alongside her role as monarch. She is accused of neglect, of indulgence, of sins she did not commit. The world outside has rewritten her story, stripping her the girl she once was and painting only the caricature it desires. By now, the psychological transformation is undeniable. Innocence is gone, replaced by careful observation, strategic silence, and the quiet strengthening of resilience. The girl who arrived believing in fairy tales has been forced to see every smile, every gesture, every word as part of an unspoken game of survival. The palace, the people, the court, they are no longer simply the world she inhabits. They are forces that will shape her entirely. And yet, deep inside, a spark remains. The girl beneath the powdered visage and silk gowns is not extinguished, only tempered, preparing for battles that history will demand she face. The night air feels heavier in Paris than anywhere else. The queen, once surrounded by gilded halls and obedient courtiers, now senses the city closing in like a predator. The attempted escape, the flight to Varennes, was meant to reclaim freedom, to breathe life into the dreams of a queen who still clings to hope. But the streets betray her. The plan collapses with mechanical precision. Every carriage wheel, every guard's glance becomes a mark of fate. Betrayal is not loud. It is quiet, invisible, and inevitable. As they seize her, the realization hits. Versailles, the palace that taught her the rules of performance, cannot protect her. The corridors she once traversed with grace now echo in memory, empty and silent, while the machinery of revolution rumbles outside. You see the faces of people you once ruled or thought you did, and their expressions are not fear or respect. They are accusation. The queen is no longer sovereign. She is a prisoner, a symbol of everything the revolution seeks to destroy. Inside the carriage to Paris, the silk gowns and powdered hair are meaningless. The trappings of royalty cannot shield her from chains, from the knowledge that the world she tried to navigate has rejected her. Every moment, every glance, every whispered threat from guards chips away at the composure she has built for years. The girl who arrived in Versailles wide-eyed and innocent is now acutely aware that her identity has become both her armor and her target. And as the city comes into view, you feel the enormity of what awaits. A prison that is as psychological as it is physical, a golden cage replaced by iron bars, where survival requires more than beauty, more than charm. It requires endurance of soul. The cells of the Tuileries are dark, damp, and unforgiving. The marble and velvet of Versailles are gone. Here, only stone, iron, and shadow remain. Guards whisper instructions, reminders of the revolution's authority. Privacy is non-existent. You are stripped of not only freedom, but autonomy. Meals are delivered like punishment, Every step is monitored, every word noted. The palace's lessons of grace and observation now serve another purpose: surviving the scrutiny of imprisonment without losing yourself entirely. Separation from your children is a blow far sharper than chains. The young faces, the laughter, the warmth, they are now memories you cannot touch. The revolution's cruelty is subtle, psychological, to break not the queen alone but the mother within her. Every day without them is a reminder of what has been taken, what can never be returned. Silence becomes both comfort and torment. Yet even in darkness, resilience grows. You begin to understand the difference between performing for the court and performing for survival. Every thought must be measured, every interaction deliberate. The girl of Vienna who believed in fairy tales is tempered by the reality of politics, betrayal, and fear. And while your body is confined, your mind begins to map paths of endurance, quiet rebellion, and inner fortitude. In these hours, the transformation from naive queen to prisoner aware of every danger is complete. A survival born not of power but perception, calculation, and the stubborn flicker of self that refuses to die. The palace windows are gone. Sunlight is filtered through iron bars. The courtiers are replaced by guards and whispers. Every movement is catalogued. The once vast corridors of Versailles are replaced by narrow passages, each echoing with the inevitability of revolution. You are no longer a figure of admiration or envy. You are an object of scrutiny, a symbol of a world that the people now demand be destroyed. You learn the harsh rhythm of confinement. Days blur together. Sleep is restless, punctuated by the shouts and footsteps from outside. Food is functional, never comforting. The lessons of Versailles, etiquette, observation, subtle diplomacy, now serve as tools of endurance. Every word spoken must protect you. Every gesture must preserve your dignity. The golden cage of courtly life has been replaced by iron and shadow, but the palace's invisible lessons remain etched in your mind. Still, even in this darkness, defiance flickers. The girl beneath the powdered visage, beneath the gowns and titles, is not extinguished. Though imprisoned, watched, and vilified, a quiet rebellion forms, not outward but within, a determination to retain what the world cannot take: memory, thought, and the smallest embers of identity. You understand at last that survival is more than escaping chains. It is sustaining selfhood under the most crushing weight. As the sun sets over Paris, the realization settles like a stone in the chest. The world she once ruled has changed irrevocably. Yet within the walls of her cell, Marie Antoinette begins to forge a new strength, one born from loss, betrayal, and unyielding necessity. The fall of the crown is complete, but the transformation, the evolution from naive girl to measured survivor, is only beginning. The prison is colder than you imagined. Stone walls seem to drink the warmth from your skin, and the air carries the faint metallic scent of iron. Here, luxury and ceremony are gone. There is only observation, scrutiny, and a deliberate stripping of dignity. Guards watch every move, record every word, and the very silence of the cell becomes a tool of psychological torment. You are forced to live in the shadow of your former grandeur, a queen reduced to flesh and nerves, observed like an exhibit. Letters from your children are withheld. You ache for their faces, their small voices, the innocence that cannot comprehend the storm outside these walls. The revolutionary authorities know the sharpest way to break a queen is not through chains, but through separation from what she loves most. Each day without them feels like a slow unraveling, a reminder that power is a fragile illusion, and even royalty can be rendered powerless. Visitors are infrequent and formal, their expressions polite but cold. You are questioned relentlessly about your actions, your thoughts, and the motives behind decisions that once seemed so clear. The questions are designed to humiliate, to trap you in contradictions, to erode confidence. The guard's eyes are patient and unblinking, waiting for signs of weakness. Every denial, every hesitation, every flicker of emotion becomes evidence against you. And still, beneath the scrutiny, you cling to composure, the only weapon left when every other is stripped away. Sleep is fitful. Candles flicker in small cells, casting shadows that seem alive, twisting and stretching as if mocking you. The hours stretch endlessly, punctuated by the distant sounds of Paris, reminding you of a world that has condemned you. Every sound is amplified. Footsteps whispers, the scrape of chains. The sensory assault is constant, designed to prevent rest, to weaken the mind and spirit. Isolation is perhaps the cruelest punishment. You are surrounded by walls, but devoid of human warmth. Conversations are formal, constrained, and calculated. Even the kindness of a guard is suspect. Every act must be read for intention. Every meal, every task, every movement is a test of endurance. You are taught without words that survival requires a suspension of despair, the concealment of fear, and the management of every visible emotion. At night, the queen is left with her thoughts, haunting memories of Vienna, of Versailles, of moments now forever out of reach. The girl she once was seems distant, almost imaginary. The crown, the silk, the powder, they feel like relics of another life. The revolutionary world has reduced her to a fragile body and a mind that must resist breakdown. Psychological torment has replaced courtly intrigue, and you feel each hour pressing against your spirit, bending but not yet breaking it. Every day brings new indignities, public shaming, relentless questioning, and the constant knowledge that your image is being twisted into caricature for crowd outside. You are forced to endure insults both subtle and cruel, whispers of immorality and treachery that the world repeats as fact. Even small gestures, a stumble, a sigh, a glance, are scrutinized, dissected, weaponized. The absence of your children pierces deepest. Every mother's instinct rebels against the separation. Guards monitor your grief, your restraint, your composure, yet there is no escape from it. Emotional pain becomes a quiet battle fought in solitude, an invisible torture designed to weaken the soul before the final public spectacle. And yet, amid these orchestrated torments, you learn resilience. Every forced humiliation is absorbed, every insult catalogued, every demand endured with strategic silence. The queen becomes a master of survival within a system designed to destroy her. The girl who once believed in fairy tales now exists in careful calculation, in quiet resistance, in the unyielding preservation of self amidst the machinery of cruelty. By dawn on the day of her execution, Marie Antoinette is no longer simply a woman stripped of power. She is a survivor forged in isolation, humiliation, and psychological torment. Every insult, every deprivation, every attempt to break her has done the opposite. It has sharpened her awareness, strengthened her composure, and prepared her for the final walk to the guillotine. The world may have thought to destroy her, but in truth, it has revealed the depth of the strength that lies hidden beneath the powdered visage and silken gowns. The morning air is sharp and cold, carrying the distant murmur of the city that once adored, then reviled you. The sky over Paris is pale, a canvas for a day that will mark history. You awaken with the knowledge that nothing remains of the life you once knew. The silk gowns, the powdered hair, the laughter of children, everything reduced to memory. Yet within this knowledge, a strange clarity emerges. You are led from your cell. Chains bite your wrists, a constant reminder of the world's judgment. Every step toward the cart that will carry you to the guillotine feels like a march across time itself. Courtiers, guards, and revolutionaries alike watch your every motion. The crowd gathers, a sea of expectation, anger, and curiosity. You can hear their voices, a tide of accusation and fascination. The streets that once celebrated parades and festivals now echo with chants that call for your end. Yet even as the weight of mortality presses down, you discover an inner composure. The girl who believed in fairy tales is gone, replaced by a queen forged through isolation, humiliation, and survival. Every glance, every step, every faint smile is carefully measured. The walk is not just toward death. It is a testament, a final performance in a life that has demanded endurance above all else. You feel the eyes of history upon you, and in that gaze a quiet, unyielding defiance begins to emerge. The cart creaks beneath you, carrying you through streets lined with thousands. Some faces are furious, some morbidly curious, some sympathetic but powerless. Every footstep reverberates through the cobblestones. Every shout from the crowd, a drumbeat marking the passage from life to legend. The city itself seems alive, watching, judging, and participating in the ritual of the revolution. Your children are gone, sent to safety you cannot share. Their absence sharpens your awareness of loss. The ultimate sacrifice demanded not by the sword but by circumstance and political tide. Memories of them flicker like candles in your mind. Small hands, soft laughter, innocent questions. You clutch these fleeting images tightly, allowing them to sustain you even as the final steps draw nearer. The Queen's composure is absolute. Every instinct urges fear. Yet fear is a luxury you cannot afford. The girl from Vienna might have trembled. The naive Marie Antoinette might have cried aloud. But the woman before the guillotine walks with dignity, turning her execution into a statement. A refusal to yield entirely, a silent rebellion against a system that has attempted to erase her. The crowd may see only the powder and silk now gone, the chains and cart replacing splendor, but beneath it all, a quiet strength endures, a strength honed through years of observation, survival, and resilience. As the place the law revolution opens before you, the guillotine stands tall, indifferent, unyielding. Its cold wood and steel await, yet your heart is not entirely broken. The crowd's roar is overwhelming, a mixture of hatred, curiosity, and morbid expectation. And yet, in that moment, you are both vulnerable and untouchable. The girl who once dreamed in Vienna is a memory. The queen who survived Versailles' golden cage, imprisonment, and humiliation now faces the ultimate test with quiet composure. You ascend the scaffold. Every movement is deliberate, measured, and dignified. The executioner's presence is mechanical, impersonal. The crowd's energy is chaotic, frenzied. Yet inside, a strange calm takes hold. Years of endurance, humiliation, and survival converge into a final clarity. The world can take your life, but it cannot erase the identity that has survived everything else. The blade glints in the morning sun, a final symbol of power over the body. And in that fleeting instant before history concludes its judgment, you are no longer just Marie Antoinette, the queen, the target of revolution. You are the embodiment of endurance, of inner strength forged in isolation, loss, and humiliation. The world may remember the spectacle, the headlines, the caricatures, but only those who look closely can see the truth. A life transformed by adversity, a girl who became a queen who survived with her dignity intact until the very end.